The next TSW says that the student will sketch the structural formulas for representative members of the hydrocarbon series and pair them with their molecular formulas. So what are hydrocarbons within the hydrocarbon series? Hydrocarbons are some of the simplest compounds that are made out of carbon. Now, when we say that they're the simplest, that does not necessarily mean that they are the least useful or that they are not useful. There's a really good chance that right now you're sitting in a house or an apartment that's being heated up using one of those simple hydrocarbons. And if you're driving today or riding a bus or a car, the car is powered by one of the simplest hydrocarbons. So what are hydrocarbons? Basically, a hydrocarbon is a compound made out of two different kinds of atoms. Of course, carbon, and the other one is hydrogen. I mean, you can hear it in the name, hydrocarbon. So hydrogen and carbon. And here are the 10 simplest hydrocarbons and their molecular and structural formulas. Some of these will sound familiar to you. Okay, so hydrocarbons, here they are. Methane, CH4. Ethane, C2H6. You can see that all we're doing, we're adding, as we're going from one to the next, we're just adding one more carbon. So methane, 1 carbon. Ethane, 2 carbons. Propane, 3 carbons. Butane, 4 carbons. Pentane, 5 carbons. Hexane, 6 carbons. Heptane, there should be a T right there, not heplane. Heptane, 7. Octane, 8 carbons. Nonane, 9 carbons. And decane is 10 carbons. To each of those carbons, some of the carbons are connected to each other and the rest is filled with the hydrogens. Here's the structural formula of methane. Now, here is ethane. You can see that the two carbons are connected to each other, and each carbon has 4 bonds, so the rest is filled with the hydrogens. So that's the structural formula for ethane. Here's the structural formula for propane. Methane, ethane, propane. So 3 carbons, and then the rest is filled with hydrogens. So again, here is propane, C3H8, and here are the 3 carbons connected to each other, and the rest are the hydrogen. Now, as you would be going on to the butane, it will be exactly the same, as you would have 4 carbons, and then the rest are the hydrogens. Pentane, you would have just a straight chain of 5 carbons, and the rest are the hydrogens. Hexane is 6 carbons, and the rest are the hydrogens. You can draw them as a practice for yourself. Here I have the last one, the decane. Decane has 10 carbons, so you can count them. Hopefully I have 10 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 carbons, and the rest are filled with hydrogens. Now, in general, here is the general formula, molecular formula for any hydrocarbon that has n carbons. If you can look at it, each of those carbons is bonded to 2 hydrogens, and then at the beginning and then at the very end there are another 2 hydrogens there. So the molecular formula for any hydrocarbon would be whatever the number of carbons is, the number of hydrogen is just twice as much plus 2. So you can follow in here. For example, octane, 8 carbons, so 8 times 2 is 16, plus 2 is 18. That's how I can remember, the number of hydrogens. Or you can just draw the structural formula and then count the number of hydrogens. Again, these are the 10 basic hydrocarbons: methane, ethane, propane, butane, pentane, hexane, heptane, octane, nonane, and decane. You need to know their names, their molecular formulas, and their structural formulas. It's not difficult. You just need to memorize the names or write them somewhere down on a paper so that you can see them in front of you, the molecular formulas, and draw their structural formulas, and that will be all that you will need for the quiz.